On a quiet August morning in 2000, a Tokyo neighborhood called Setagaya Leafy, ordinary, the kind of place where doors are left unlocked, became the stage for a crime that would haunt Japan for decades. Two bodies were found in a modest house, a 30-year-old mother, her 8-year-old daughter. The brutality of the attack shocked the nation. The killer left a trail of strange, almost theatrical clues. Yet despite extensive investigation, rewards, DNA evidence, and a public hungry for answers, the Setagaya case remains unsolved. How did a country with modern policing and meticulous records fail to catch its most infamous killer? The reasons are as revealing as they are unsettling. The first striking aspect of the case is how calculated the offender appeared. He entered the home through a window at night, waited as the mother put the child to bed, and then carried out an attack that combined violence with a bizarre calm. The family's possessions were left intact. There was no obvious robbery motive. The killer spent hours in the house, afterwards using the family's computer, preparing food, even dismantling a burned piece of evidence and leaving it in the trash. He left behind a cigarette butt and a bloodied wine glass, and he wrote a note that read more like a cryptic signature than an explanation. Each item offered investigators potential leads, but none led to a definitive identity. Forensic science did provide crucial materials. DNA from the cigarette and other items was analyzed and cataloged, and in 2003, law enforcement created profiling sketches based on the DNA, suggesting the killer might have been part African or Southeast Asian. But DNA databases rely on matches, and the suspect's DNA did not match anyone in national records. Japan's DNA database was limited at the time, far smaller than those of many Western countries, and its use restricted by law and public sentiment. This meant a valuable genetic profile could not be cross-checked widely, creating a bottleneck in the hunt for identification. Cultural and systemic factors also complicated the investigation. Japan places a high value on privacy and social harmony. The idea of suspicion directed at an ordinary neighbor, or the invasive scrutiny of citizens, felt uncomfortable to many. Police relied heavily on a massive door-to-door canvass, collecting saliva samples and interviewing tens of thousands. Yet that very thoroughness became a double-edged sword. It generated enormous amounts of data and numerous false leads, overwhelming investigators and dispersing resources. The killer likely understood this, blending in easily among hundreds of people, never giving authorities a single irrefutable touchpoint. Mistakes and missed opportunities further deepened the mystery. Witnesses reported seeing a suspicious van and a man acting strangely in the neighborhood, descriptions that offered tantalizing but inconclusive hints. At times, communication between police units was fragmented, and some pieces of evidence were not pursued with the urgency they required. Years later, investigative journalists and private sleuths produced theories ranging from a foreign transient to a professional criminal who studied the crime scene for weeks. None proved conclusive. The case also exposed limits of public involvement. A high-profile reward and intense media coverage did produce tips, thousands of them, but it also produced noise. Anonymous letters, hoaxes, and contradictory memories made it harder to separate truth from fiction. Meanwhile, the family's tragedy became a national preoccupation, pressuring authorities to show progress even as real breakthroughs remained elusive. 2 decades on, technological advances have reopened possibilities. Improvements in DNA phenotyping and genealogy techniques have solved cold cases elsewhere, raising hopes that a culprit might still be identified. Yet legal, ethical, and logistical barriers remain, especially in Japan, where genetic privacy is vigilantly guarded. Until a decisive match is found, the Setagaya case will stand as a warning. Even meticulous societies can be vulnerable to a single, determined criminal who knows how to exploit system limits and social norms. The unsolved Setagaya murders are more than an unresolved headline. They are a study in how evidence, culture, and institutional design intersect and sometimes fail. The victim's silence demands answers, and perhaps one day, new science or a single brave witness will provide them. Until then, Setagaya remains an open wound in Japan's conscience, a reminder that even the most modern systems are fallible, and that justice depends as much on human choices as on technology.